So in our first video for this chapter, we're going to review inequalities. I'm only going to display the left 3/4 of the sheet of paper. The right 3/4 is yours to work with and to ask and write down questions that you have for me for when we're in class. Our skills that we're going to focus on and the goal for today is to graph an inequality on a number line. A couple things that we have to review. What is an inequality first and foremost? Inequality is any of these four symbols. It also would include this symbol. It's basically a symbol that compares two values that are not equal. Inequality means they're not equal. This first one, think of these as arrows, and the direction the arrow points helps you determine the description or the words you would use. For this one that's pointing to the right, that's a greater than. And then I'll skip one and go here, and the one that points to the left, we would say is less than. The one I skipped, it's pointing to the right, but it has the line underneath it. That's also greater than because it points to the right, but the little line underneath it is the bottom of an equal sign, so we would say that this is greater than or equal. So greater than or equal. We're not going to say and equal because something can't be bigger than and equal to something at the same time. So it's greater than or equal. And our last one then is less than or equal. On a number line, we would graph these in slightly different ways. So I'm just going to draw what is amounting to a number line for each example. Then talk about how I would graph these. If I have a greater than symbol, then either on or just above my number line at whatever value we're graphing. And most of the time I'm going to graph it above. To indicate the number that we're graphing at, I'm going to put a circle, but I'm not going to fill that circle in. It's going to be an open circle at whatever number we're focusing on. And again, since we're looking at these as arrows, and this is pointing to the right, I am going to shade in the number line to the right, including an arrow. This is saying that anything bigger than this number. The line here shading is representing anything bigger to the right. The open means it's not equal to. The difference between an or equal to and just a greater than is that this circle is filled in. I'm still shading it to the right with an arrow pointing to the right. Okay. This says it's not equal to because it's not circled or it's not filled in. This is filled in, so it means it can equal this value, or it could be anything greater. Less than has the same pattern. If I have my number line, I can put an open circle for a less than symbol, a closed circle for a less than or equal to symbol, arrow points left, shade left, shade left. Now, when I say shades left or shades right, there's one very important distinction. That works when we always write our variables on the left. Variable should be on the left. For example, x is greater than 5. The variable is on the left of the symbol. If I were to graph this, I'm going to have 5 on my number line. It's going to be an open circle. And I'm going to shade to the right with an arrow to the right. A non-example would be something like if I had my x, but it was on the wrong side. I had something like 3 is less than x. I can't use the arrow at this point. I can only use the arrow for my shading, for what direction to shade in, if the variable is on the left. I do know I'm going to have 3 on my number line. That's the number we're focused on. But in order to graph this, I also know that there's no line underneath this, so it's going to be an open circle. Arrows pointing left, though. I don't shade left here because I have to focus or make sure I put the variable on the left-hand side and I put the number on the right-hand side. But because I'm switching those, the arrow is pointing at one of my terms, either my variable or my number, in this case my number. When I switch the order, variable goes from the right to the left, I need the arrow pointing at the same thing. It's pointing at the 3, it's pointing at the 3 here. That represents that I shade this to the right and put an arrow to the right. So let's do a couple examples together. Graph the following inequalities on the number line provided. One thing I didn't do on the number lines above that you must do, and I will start to do now. I need to see 2 numbers on the number line. I don't need to see you put every single number, but I need 2 of them. I need the number 0 on every number line. And I don't care where you put 0. You can put it in the middle, you can put it on the left, you can put it here on the right. It doesn't matter to me at all where you put 0. What matters is where you put your second number in relationship to 0. The other number I need on my number line is -5. I can't put -5 to the right. Think of the x-axis on a coordinate plane. -5 is on the left. It goes to the left. And it doesn't matter how close or how far, since I don't need this to be scaled. I just need to make sure that the number is in the correct location. Okay. It's in greater than or equal to, has the line underneath it. That's a closed circle. The variable's on the left and arrow points right, so I shade right. Okay. Now, some people do it like this, and they put it on the actual number line and shade it this way. That's fine. You do need to fill in that arrow. Okay. Not necessary to graph it that way. I like to graph it above the number line just to make it obvious where we're graphing. In the second one, 7, the 0 is here, 7 is positive, it goes to the right. Again, I can go as far right or as close to 0 as I want. It doesn't matter. Okay. And the circle I'm putting is going to be an open circle here. I'm not filling it in, and it's at 7. The circle always goes with the number in the inequality. Arrow points left, variables on the left, I shade left. Okay. -1 goes on my number line. It's a closed circle. X is on the left, arrow points left, I shade left. 2 goes on the number line. It is an open circle, but I can't graph this I can't shade which direction until I put X on the left, 2 on the right. The arrow points at X, so it points at X here. This is what I graph. X is on the left, arrow points left, shade left. Make sure you write down any questions you have on the right-hand side, and we will go ahead and follow those up in our next class period.